On today's episode of No BS Live TV, we've got a 4-step process for split testing your sales copy. Some of my favorite copywriting books, and these are two of them, you'll be surprised when you see what they are, and a question from a Glazer Kennedy Gold member. Welcome to this episode of No BS Live TV. I'm your No BS marketing expert, Bill Glazer, and today I want to talk about split testing in sales copy. There are elements that should appear in every sales letter, so that's the first thing we got to get out of the way. So there are key direct response elements, sort of like headlines, deadlines, call to action. If you don't have a copy of my book, Outrageous Advertising, that's outrageously successful, you ought to get it just to go through all the things you got to make sure that are in every sales letter, every kind of sales piece that you create. But in addition to that, you always want to split test to see if you can always beat the previous results. And there's a simple 4-step process that you can follow for testing every one of the elements that need to be in every kind of a sales letter. So here's my 4-step process. Number 1 is only test one element at a time. A lot of people make this mistake. A lot of times they change multiple things in their sales letters, and when they do that, they don't know what's working and what's not working. So you can only to do it properly, you only want to change one element at a time. So like, for example, change the headline, change the deadline, change the offer, one at a time. Number 2 is you got to track results. And a lot of people, again, don't think about that strategically enough. Because everything that should be driving your decisions of what you send out and you communicate with people should all be about results that are actually making you make those decisions of what you do. So number 2 is you have to gather results. Number 3 is you want to analyze results from your previous sales letter. So again, we're split testing. So we have a previous one that we've got, and now we want to see and analyze that against the new one where we only change one thing. And then the 4th thing is we want to implement the new sales letter, or if we didn't beat the results before, we want to stick with the original one. Now, I know that for many of you that are listening to this right now, you're going to say, gee, that's takes too long. Now, one of the quick ways to do it is to do it online, because online you could be changing things around all the time. I know plenty of people that are constantly changing squeeze pages online. So many people are changing and split testing traffic that goes to different sales letters online or different video sales letters online. So you can go online real fast, but you got to do it one at a time. And then here's a bonus step for you. So here's bonus step number 5. Is that after you do one thing, you test one thing, the next thing is to go back and repeat steps 1 through 4 again, go ahead and check and test the next thing. And you want to keep doing this because you always want to beat your controls and beat results. And, wait a minute, I'll be right back. I'm going to get my books. Wait a minute. So, here I am back again. And since we're talking about sales letters and testing it in this episode, I thought I'd share with you some of my favorite and most valued books on copywriting. Now, the first one you probably will not be surprised to see, and it was one of the first books that I ever read on copywriting that made a tremendous amount of success to me, and this was Dan Kennedy's Ultimate Sales Letter. Now, right now, the new edition is out. It's the 3rd edition. I think I had the 1st edition. I certainly have always read all the new ones that have come out. So this is a terrific one that everybody should have. But here's 2 more that many people don't really know about. And this one here is by Richard Bain. I hope, Richard, if you're watching, I hope I pronounce your name correctly. And it's called Words That Sell. And Words That Sell is sort of like a giant thesaurus, where in here you can have so many different words that you can look up and you can figure out how to re-say them in your copy, which will give your copy some uniqueness and also oftentimes present them better. And the last one is really cool, and this is by Richard Spears. It's called American Slang Dictionary. American Slang Dictionary. And I love this one. The reason why I love it is because when you can use slang in the way that you say your words, people really connect with this so much better because they feel like it's more conversational and people are talking right to them. So once again, there's three of the ones that I like. Now, certainly I have a huge library that I actually use in order to always work on my copy. But there's three of them for you, and two of them you probably never heard of before, and you probably would not have thought of before, and they're ultimate shortcuts. Now it's time to ask Bill. That's me. And today's question comes from a Glazer Kennedy Gold member, Brian Tolliver, in Norfolk, Virginia. And this came in through the No BS Ask Bill hotline. So here's the question. This comes from Brian Tolliver, who's a Glazer Kennedy Gold member in Norfolk, Virginia. Brian asks, "Hi, Bill. I'm working on a sales letter that's going to be direct mailed to teenagers who are known to have a short attention span. I've sold a similar product to adults with a long-form sales letter, but I'm not sure that's such a great idea with this group. What would you do?" Well, Brian, that's a great question, and actually it's a great segue into the big lesson that we went through on today's episode, which is split testing. Because to be candid with you, first of all, I challenge even the assumption that you're making is that teenagers have a short attention span. Certainly, I have two children, and they're no longer teenagers, but when they were growing up, they had a very long attention span as long as they saw things that were interesting to them. So my belief is that the same principles hold true here as with any group at all, is the challenge that you always want to have is interesting copy, and have your copy be very, very interesting to them. Because if people are looking for information about things, they will spend the amount of time that they need to spend in order to really gather all that information before they make a smart, effective buying decision. So the first thing I would tell you is that before I would abandon the whole idea of using the same level of copy used for adults, I would try it certainly with young adults as well. And then the next thing is now you got to do some split testing. And when you do your split testing, you obviously, one of the things you can test is shorter copy. I will tell you, as a copywriter, creating shorter copy is usually a challenge, because as a copywriter, you only want to write things that are relevant and necessary anyway. So when you go to shorter copy, you have to now take out things that you've already made the assumption of are relevant and necessary. So before you shorten it, check it to that audience, and then if you have to, then start split testing. And the last thing I'll just tell you about this is, another thing I'd split test is the different kind of media you use. So instead of a long form sales letter, use a video sales letter, see how that works as well.
Jessica here, bringing you this week's special web promotion, an incredible opportunity to gain ultra insider access to see exactly how Dan Kennedy and Bill Glazer create the marketing and copywriting ideas that fuel the explosive growth of multiple million-dollar businesses, plus 5 exclusive bonus gifts worth at least $2,064, including a special bonus available only during this special promotion, Dan Kennedy's intensive 10K sales letter writing workshop CD set. Recently discovered in the Glazer Kennedy Vault, this is pure gold for anyone interested in copywriting, direct response marketing, or information marketing. But I recommend you act quickly, because this 5th exclusive bonus gift disappears when this special promotion expires next Monday. Check the banner for more details, or go to dankennedy.com/vault.
If you want your marketing questions answered on No BS Live TV, just call the No BS Ask Bill hotline at the number that's on the screen, or you can also leave a comment below in the comments section. I want to thank all of you for tuning in, and don't forget to check out this week's free gift just for watching on No BS Live TV website.